The Jeff Meacham Network's Multiverse of Media. For over 15 years, the recognized symbol of excellence and the standard bearer in coverage of sports and entertainment. The following views are strictly the views of James Hebert and do not represent anybody that works with the Jeff Meacham Network Multiverse of Media or is a part of the Jeff Meacham Network Multiverse of Media.
Straight from JHebert Studios, James covers the good, the bad, and the ugly, and gives his perspective on things. Now here is your host, James Hebert.
Oh, boy. We got some dickwads to talk about today on the JHebert Side of Things, episode 14. I'll just be real with y'all. I'm recording these completely out of order. This is going to be uploaded at a later date, once again. But I'm actually recording this on 3/20. So there might be some shit that changes between then and a month from now, a month and a half from now, whenever it releases. But, I wanted to talk about a couple of people that absolutely are not big that I'm not big fans of on the channel, that I'm not big fans of in the YouTube space. I need to get this camera fixed, man. I don't know why it keeps going down like that. But yeah, I'm trying to get it to not go upwards. Alright, there we go. Anyway, as I was saying, yeah, man, it's crazy to me how after all this time these two cockroaches somehow managed to weasel their way back into the space. The way it all started. And to me, I wanted to just kind of get my thoughts out there about how I truly feel about these people, because I don't think I've ever talked about them, and I kind of want to make one definitive video on how I feel about them personally. And quite simply, the answer to the long and short of it is no. I don't like them, never am going to like them, but ultimately I'm going to give the law for him because it's my podcast. So there you go. We're going to start off with the beginning topic. And I bring up this asshole first, because everybody knows my thoughts on him already. You folks will remember I made a video a long time ago, possibly if you go back that far on my YouTube channel, where I was calling for the ban of both Logan and Jake Paul. Now, Logan has since redeemed himself, kinda. He still did CryptoZoo, but I feel like that's going to be a whole other podcast. I don't even think that's necessarily all on him. I think that's just because crypto in and of itself is a fucking scam, so I'll come to that video in a bit. But I think everybody got scammed, including him. We'll just kind of leave the short end of that, and then we'll talk about it at a later date. But point is, Logan has mostly redeemed himself. Logan actually tried to figure out the error of his ways after the Suicide Forest incident, and he did a whole career renaissance and turnaround essentially as a result of it. So much so that the biggest celebrity that absolutely disavowed him and wanted nothing to do with him is now working with him under the same company with The Rock as his boss and trusting in Logan Paul to deliver a great match with Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. Two men he's very fucking familiar with. So, hey, shit happens, man. That's coming up at WrestleMania. Something else that might be happening for the Jeff Meacham Network Multiverse of Media is, and I'm not going to say this is definitive because I'm not even sure if it is yet, but chances are we may be doing our first ever boxing card for the Jeff Meacham Network Multiverse of Media Watch-Along events. And we are going to be calling the Jake Paul Mike Tyson boxing card. Me and Walter, anyway. That's kind of the initial plan. Things may change, but that is happening. Now, if the Jeff Meacham Network wasn't doing it, I would not be entertaining this fuckwad in Jake Paul. But at the end of the day, I get to commentate with Walter, and I like Walter's company. I like doing shit for Jeff. I like doing commentary, right? And I don't get to really show off my chops when it comes to other sports. You always know me as the wrestling guy, but, you know, part of the JHebert Side of Things, like resolution in the beginning of the year, as you saw in the first podcast, was not just make it a wrestling-oriented thing. Boxing is a great way to establish that. And if Jeff Meacham Network's going to do it, then there was no way I was going to miss out on that. And then you all obviously saw that Statboy Mike and Dory Lou, they called the Super Bowl this year. So I figured, you know what, why not? Let's give it a shot, give it a new team, give it a new fresh coat of paint, and just call some good old-fashioned boxing, right? And I'll be real with you. This is just my personal feelings out there on the subject. That's all it is. That doesn't mean I'm not going to be doing the show. Doesn't mean... I barely tune into any of his fucking boxing events anyway, so it's not like I'm, you know, really broken up that I have to call one fucking fight of Jake Paul in my life. So I'm going to do it, because it's going to be fun. That said, I don't like the prick. I'm never going to like him. I can't stand the sight of him. Quite simply, I cannot stand the sight of this guy. I want him to lose. Ultimately, I think everybody knows why I want him to lose. My stance has not changed. I have not changed my stance from back when I made that video, calling for his ban of YouTube. I think he's a piece of shit. He sexually exploited his young audience at the time to sexually charge thumbnails, and he's a piece of shit for that. And I do not forgive that, will never forgive that, will not apologize for it. So that hasn't changed. And then you talk about the way he's been ducking KSI, the way he fights all these old other motherfuckers that barely know anything about boxing. The closest fight that this fucking guy has actually had to a straight-up one-on-one, there were two people. One was Tyron Woodley, and the first fight sucked because all they did was hug the entire time. It might as well have been fucking Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao 2 Electric Boogaloo. Alright, so don't even count that one. And then you can maybe make an argument for fucking Nate Diaz. And even Nate Diaz, as great of a fighter as he is, this motherfucker isn't a boxer. And I feel like everybody just kind of fucking, oh, well, it's still Nate Diaz. It's a high-profile fight. Yeah, it's, and? What does that fucking mean? This guy doesn't box. He fights. He's a street fighter who got big in the UFC because of how good he is in MMA. He's just also got the fucking dog in him. So that's all it is. Now, granted, he has some boxing technique. He's the closest person Jake has had to a legitimate one-on-one fight. And even that was completely... It meant nothing. Because ultimately, yeah, if you put in a fucking celery stick against Jake Paul, obviously Jake Paul is going to fucking win. And I'm not calling Nate Diaz a celery stick, by the way. I'm saying he might as well have been fighting an inanimate object because he does not have any boxing experience. Jake does. Jake does, even if it's fucking limited in his own right. But he has legitimate boxing experience. So anybody could have gotten in there and beat up Nate Diaz in a boxing ring. There is a difference between boxing and the sweet science of boxing and the fundamentals of MMA. They're two completely different fucking sports. Just bottom line. Like, it's absolutely crazy to me that we're at a time period where, oh yay, Jake Paul, he's gonna fucking fight fucking Mike Tyson. Like, this is the big thing, right? And people are saying Tyson's gonna beat him. Tyson's gonna beat him. You also have the Jake Paulers that are saying Jake Paul's gonna beat him. Jake Paul's a threat. How big of a fucking threat could he be when Mike Tyson's about to be 58 come to fight? Like, what an absolute bitch. Like, I can't even begin to tell you how fucking advantage taking this is. That's all it is. He's taking advantage of Mike Tyson, knowing the shit that he's been through. And this is probably, this is the worst part. The only reason he even considered this is because this is, honest to God, probably going to be Mike Tyson's biggest payday of all time. And if you think I'm fucking kidding, I mean, why don't you ask Don King? Fucking scam artist. Fucking absolutely destroyed Mike Tyson's financial record. Absolutely destroyed him. You know, and now he's going to go in there with the baddest man on the planet when he's far past his prime. And everybody's like, well, he still looks good. He still looks good. That's great. And look, I hope Tyson can prove me wrong. I think there is a chance that he'll, at the very least, hold his own. But I mean, shit. What are we really looking at here? Because this is the reality of the situation, especially with most people peeking into this nonsense, right? Either Jake Paul is going to beat Mike Tyson and therefore he beats up a 58-year-old man who's far past his prime, or option B, Mike Tyson knocks him the fuck out and his career is done. Like, why would you even consider this as a fight? It's a no-win situation no matter where you look at it. You don't win. And by the way, everybody wants to tell me, well, he should have won against Tommy Fury. Yeah, sure. He very well might have. Let's just talk facts here. That actually was probably the closest fight he ever had. And Tyson Fury. Tommy Fury should have lost that fight. He also should have lost the fight to KSI, as we've discussed already. And he had a fight recently. He had a pro fight recently, like a legitimate pro fight. How well did that work out for him? Boom. Knocked out. Right at the bottom of the barrel again. Because the guy doesn't actually take this shit seriously. He has not taken this seriously. And you could tell on his fucking mug that this fucking guy doesn't want to do boxing full time. It's fucking evident, and the only reason he took this is so... the only reason he even took the fights with the influencer scene is so that way he could get the rest of his family to shut the fuck up. That's how it seems like to me. So he went into a fucking fight, the closest fight he had, with a dude who's not even giving it his fucking all. And he still was either going to draw with him or barely fucking straight by. And this guy wants to go and try and beat Mike Tyson as if he earned that fucking right. Like, holy shit, bro. Floyd Mayweather earned that right more so than you did, motherfucker. And that dude's in a whole different weight class. Like, I hope to God that Mike Tyson just absolutely annihilates him, because I don't want this guy to succeed. He's go away heat just as much as everybody else that I've ever disavowed on this channel. I don't want to actually see him again. This is probably going to be the only fight I ever call with this fucking guy, and I hope that the fight ends up with Mike Tyson knocking him out. But there's no guarantee of that. Because at the end of the day, he's going up against a Mike Tyson who is now 58 years old. Like, you know, the guy's younger. Like, Jake Paul's younger. Let's not kid ourselves. He's younger, he's faster, he's a lot more coordinated, albeit he's not boxing coordinated, and he's missing a lot of the fucking skills. But this dude, you know, he's going to go through a lot. He's going to go through a lot of training, and is going to get in peak physical conditioning. Something that Mike Tyson, even though, don't get me wrong, he looks so fucking good for his age, cannot fucking do. He is not even close to the same mass that he used to be. Not even close. Right? And the thing that infuriates me about this whole thing, right, and one of the biggest things that I cannot fucking stand when it comes to Jake Paul even asking for this fight, is that there are people, boxing legends, even celebrity boxers, that have been offered this fight and just completely, like, said, nah, you're the GOAT. I don't want to ruin that. I don't even want the opportunity to ruin that, and I don't want to ruin my own credibility by taking the fight, because either I'm going to get knocked the fuck out, or I'm going to knock you out, and it's going to look bad on me. Now, like, that, and that's really what it is, especially now. This is back when Mike Tyson was like fucking. This is back when Mike Tyson was like in his 40s, late 40s, right? The only person that actually accepted a fight, I think, was Evander Holyfield. I think they had a fight recently. I might be getting the boxer around, but I swear they had a rematch, right? Or they had some fight with Mike Tyson back in, I think it was 2021. And the dude looked great for his age. But it was kind of scary because it was like, holy shit, this guy is fucking 55 years old, you know, at the time. And he's taking fucking shots to the head, blows to the head. Like, this is what I don't like about celebrity boxing. Because, like, and the reason why people... And I normally wouldn't fucking agree with the fucking, like, super elitist boxing crowd, but I do in this case. The reason why people are giving Eddie Hearn shit for booking this fucking fight at all, that this even came into his fucking mind, is because he's literally only doing it for a quick payday. That's all he's doing it for, is a quick payday. Because every other fight that Jake Paul has had since his fight with fucking Tommy Fury has drawn very little crowds, very little pay-per-view numbers. All those fights have bombed ever since he lost to Tommy Fury. Which, by the way, I do not think is okay. Because if he did win fair and square, then you shouldn't fucking ruin the integrity of the sport, right? I can't fucking say that about KSI and not say the same about Jake Paul. So, both fights were fucking rigged in Tommy's favor from the fucking get-go. Because they want their boy to succeed. And, again, motherfucker got knocked out. He doesn't care. He doesn't care that much. You pretend he does. You pretend he does. This guy doesn't actually want to fucking fight. And if he does, he's fooling himself. He just is. He's fooling himself. Like this, like he's no Tyson Fury. He will never be like Tyson Fury. In fact, I mentioned on an old podcast that shall not be named for obvious fucking reasons that Mike Tyson, if anybody was going to give him a fucking legitimate fight and actually, like, at the time, in 2020, could have been a decently even fight, it could have been him versus Tyson Fury. And I guarantee you that's going to draw a lot more than Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. Now, after this fight, this is probably going to be the last fight that fucking Tyson ever has. Like, let's not kid ourselves. The only reason this guy's taking this fight is because he can actually make up for a lot of the losses that he got, or at least a good majority or chunk of them that he lost when he was fucking getting promoted by Don King. Who we all know collectively in the boxing world is a fucking scumbag. Even the most casual boxing fan knows this guy's an absolute jackass. Right? So, that's the only reason why he's taking this fight. Now, good for Jake for giving him that payday. I'll give him that. Good for Eddie Hearn for giving them that payday. Maybe that's the ultimate reason why they wanted to do this fight. But, like, what the fuck, dude? Like, he's still 58 years old and he has to resort to this shit. And I like it because I want Jake Paul to lose, but I don't like it because if he loses or wins, like, it don't look good either way. It really doesn't. Like, I actually would have preferred an out-of-prime Evander Holyfield try to take on somebody in the celebrity boxing scene, because he's not... I don't even know, man. Like, it's just... I don't know. Like, I like it and I don't. I understand the appeal for most people. I understand it, but I don't like it. I don't agree with it. I'm going to call the fight regardless, so obviously it's crying over spilled milk at the end of the day. But I think people need to realize, at the end of the day, Tyson is 58 come the fight. He's going to be 58 years old when the fight happens. That means nothing. Nothing. Like, either way, it means Jake is going to get knocked out by a 58-year-old Tyson, or he's going to fucking knock out a 58-year-old Tyson who's far past his prime. Tell me how that's a legitimate win-win scenario. It's a lose-lose scenario. And it goes back to what I've been fucking saying about this clown for, God, I don't even know how long now. This fucking asshole took boxing because YouTube didn't want to deal with his ass anymore. And so he stuck with boxing because boxing was giving him big payouts and big fights with names that he knew he could beat because they don't have enough boxing experience to keep up with him. That's the fucking end. That's the long and short of it. He beat Deji, who didn't give a shit and didn't try. And then he started getting better and got lucky against Denny Sungib. He got lucky against fucking Ben Askren, because Ben Askren was willing to fucking take a dive for him. The only two people that weren't willing to take a fucking dive for him were Tyrone Woodley and Nate Diaz. And Nate and Tyrone could barely fucking do anything because they don't have enough experience in boxing. Stop me when I'm telling lies. Seriously. Like, fuck this whole thing, like, with Jake. I have a lot more respect for other influencers in the celebrity boxing scene, because you could tell that most of them actually respect the art, respect the fucking athletic prowess, respect the training that goes into it, and they don't half-ass it. Jake half-asses it, is arguably worse than Deji, in my opinion, when it comes to half-assing it, because Deji actually has some talent. He actually has some God-given boxing talent. Not only does Jake not have God-given boxing talent, the dude can barely fucking move around. He doesn't move his feet, he barely fucking moves, because he takes the easy fight, so he's never had to. He's never had to, except for like 2 fights. Tommy Fury and Nate Diaz. Every other fight, he's just fucking coaxed around. He's had tune-up fights up to this point. And I think a lot of people forget that. This guy has had tune-up fights. He's a bully. The only difference is he's getting the others paid. So they're getting a payday regardless. They're getting a guaranteed payday. Like, that's it. Hence why Tyson probably took this fight, is because he's getting a guaranteed payday, which he has never been guaranteed before in the history of boxing. And I think, Doug from RVD Tito for Life, he said this on Live Rounds. I did the intro for it back in the day. And he says it the best. The reason why YouTubers have come in and taken over their sport is because boxing only protects their fighters when it benefits them. That's it. And the people. That's why I think a lot of people on the outside are, at the very least, there's a lot that you could say about Eddie Hearn, but at least he cares about getting, paid, or getting legends of boxing paid, legends of MMA paid, like big money. That's how I see it. So yeah, man, I don't really care about any of these other fights. Like Jake Paul, the problem child, who gives a shit? The reason why, Showtime Boxing I feel like folded was because he was on a Showtime Boxing event and not a lot of people really wanted to see him, other than his fucking merry band of misfits he's still been able to retain from YouTube. Which, by the way, if you noticed, there are very few and far between left of those, judging by his last pay-per-view performance before Nate Diaz. Because there was a lot more Nate Diaz people that were trying to pay for that pay-per-view to see if he gets his head knocked off. Evidently, it didn't happen. But, yeah, man, ultimately, fuck Jake Paul. I want to see him lose. I think he's a bully. I think he's taking the fucking low road. I think he's acting like a big man, as it says in the thumbnail. He's acting like a big man that thinks he can just do whatever. He can beat up anybody and he feels like a big man. That's how it feels, right? And we're talking about he's a degenerate loser. He's a degenerate loser of a whole different ilk. Because he acts like he's this big dog, and he's not. He's not even close. This dude came from Disney Channel. And because his brother became more successful than him and got out of the slums of that time in Japan, that because people were quick to forgive him so quickly, that all of a sudden he has to fucking go on this little dark emo road and beat up all these fighters that couldn't even fight themselves in a boxing ring out of a wet paper bag. So they're my fucking thoughts on Jake Paul. He's a fucking loser. Let's switch gears here and talk about another loser. More of a loser than Jake Paul. Man, I never thought I'd say that. You all know him as a snake, but most of the internet calls him Sneako. Oh, man. I just saw this video for the first time. I'm going to rewatch it, but I want you all to look in the description. I want to give the proper credit real quick. Okay? I want you to check out Tell Us More for this great piece on this absolute scumbag of a human being. For those who don't know Sneako, he defended the movie Cuties, even though they were sexually exploiting children, which is not fucking okay, even if it's for realism's sake. I don't care what his reasoning is. He defended fucking kids being shown in a sexual light. Fuck you. But now, because people have rightly banned him on every other platform for having that dog shit take, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, nobody wants to host him. The only one that will is Rumble, and Rumble is just as fucking bad as Kick, but at least Kick has a brighter side. Feels like Rumble just welcomes any controversy. So, yeah. We're going to just watch what Sneako has been up to lately, because, this guy says he's stayed relevant, but, about 8 days ago, this is what he's been up to. He might have been up to more since then, realistically, right? But I don't know, man. This guy got what he deserved, and I don't feel bad for it. I mean, again, not only for the Cuties thing, and not only for, just making everybody feel like they're inferior to him, but the way he went after Moist Critical and Charlie, the way he just kind of went after every commentary community, you know what I mean? Any social media influencer, man, this guy has gone way off the fucking deep end. This is the sign of a man who clearly doesn't understand that he needs some serious fucking mental help. And that's what we're gonna go and look up today. Now, granted, we're gonna see in the midst of all this Shane Strickland beating him up. Is his name Shane Strickland? I think it's Sean Strickland. Sorry, I'm thinking of a freaking Swerve Strickland, but no, it's Shane Strickland. Sean Strickland. He beat the piss out of this guy, and I'm just ready to see this, to be honest, because he kind of had it coming to him. That said, there was a bit of a line that he kind of crossed, and we'll get to it. But yeah, let's start this video and see what the hell Sneako's been up to now that he has been kicked off of every platform that will generally give a shit to actually hear his opinion, shall we?
It's been a rough start to the year for Sneako. Like always, he's managed to find himself in a bunch of controversy, and it all started on January 7th when he got into a beef with 27-year-old Mikey Musumeci. If you just go off appearances, Mikey doesn't seem very intimidating. He has that stereotypical nerdy look, and at just 5'7", 134 pounds, he's a pretty small guy. But his looks are deceiving because he's actually an extremely skilled and talented fighter.
It's called an Aoki lock. It's a modified heel hook, but
Jiu-jitsu is for autistic people.
what I think a master of jiu-jitsu is somebody that inspires another generation.
You know what's funny? Not too long ago, as I record this, I actually showed up on Shot from the Point, who also made a joke, but you could tell it was clearly a joke. Tommy and the boys roasted me for my little comment on Nerd City not really liking cats being brought up in the Discord server of the TBH podcast, right? So they said, yeah, you're definitely autistic. Right, it was a whole thing. I found it funny. It was to make Tommy laugh, so hopefully mission accomplished, big dog. Seems like it was, right? But I could tell when the fuckers are joking, right? I could give context to a situation, and he even said the R word before, and I joked with him, like, hey, you get the R word passed out of you, have an autistic kid in there. Which I've been using for a while now, right? So, yeah, I got to use it on a big show. So, yeah, it was funny. We had a good time. So, yeah, it was a whole thing. It was a whole thing. But I could tell he was joking, and it wasn't out of fucking malice, right? Fuck me, this is just a bully. Like, this fucking guy, the first words out of his fucking mouth made me say, yeah, I'm glad I've never viewed this guy other than the fucking times he got roasted by Moist Critical. Like, jiu-jitsu is for autistic people.
A master of jiu-jitsu is somebody that inspires another generation.
Jiu-jitsu, I swear, this is why I like striking. This is a competition where it's an art, and it's an art form, and I learned from the master. He looks like Mark Zuckerberg. He shouldn't be winning.
So much credit. I did his move on him. So that's like a master to student. He's an idol of mine for being...
It's like a master to the student. This is a leg heel lock.
Who knows why Sneako went after him, but he does this sort of thing all the time. He probably didn't expect Mikey to respond, or he just didn't care if he did. But what he said really pissed Mikey off, and he posted a video response on Instagram.
So today I'm going to talk about bullies. Bullies are weak people that make fun of others around them, to give themselves relevance, and then make themselves feel good. They pick on the differences of humans, which is the most beautiful part of humans, their uniqueness. I really don't like bullies, guys. And there's this guy named Sneako making fun of me, making fun of my friend, making fun of jiu-jitsu. He calls himself a boxer. I'm a jiu-jitsu guy. Let's have an MMA fight. I challenge Sneako to an MMA fight. I'm going to shut his mouth, and I'm going to take the bully's lunch money.
Bro, wow, bro. Holy shit. That ending line was harder than anything Sneako said. I don't care if it came from a voice like that. Might as well have came from Mike Tyson's voice, ironically enough that we talked about him. But, dude, What a line. What a fucking line that is. I'm gonna beat the bully up, take his fucking lunch money. You go, bro. Absolutely, you go. And no, he absolutely, like, the fucked up part of it is, it's like, Sneako, you dumb fuck. One of the greatest MMA champions of all time, Anderson the Spider Silva, anybody? Jiu-Jitsu guy. Like, what the fuck are you on about, bro? Fucking, oh, Jiu-Jitsu's for autistic people. Dude, he might as well have said, Jiu-Jitsu's for fucking black people. It still would have sounded just as awful, dude. Like, no shit fucking this guy was pissed off. It was a full-on blatant attack. It wasn't like something joking. It wasn't something fucking ridiculous. No, it was it wasn't even a joke. It was just fucking flat-out disrespectful. And this guy called him out on his bullshit, as he should have. This guy's a legit MMA fucking guy, by the way. And we're about to see the fucking success of this guy. Because when I saw his resume after this, oh boy, how anybody in their right mind would even try to challenge this guy, you gotta be out of your fucking mind.
Money.
The video got millions of views and Sneako's fans began pressuring him to respond. They wanted him to get in a cage with Meacham and have it out, but this would only ever go one way. You see, Mikey is an American submission grappler and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt competitor. He's a 5-time world champion and Pan-American champion in colored belts, and is a 5-time IBJJF black belt world champion. He was the first American to win more than one IBJJF world title at black belt, and currently he's the flyweight submission grappling champion for one championship. This guy is no joke, and
dude! What the fuck would you... Who in their right mind? Clearly not fucking Sneako, because we've established this guy's lost his mind because he's isolated himself from the people that actually would matter, as we'll get into later in the video, by the way. But, like, who in their right mind would challenge this fucking guy? In a stand-up fight in MMA. Dude, you'd get fucking smoked. You get fucking smoked. And of course, somebody must have gotten his fucking ear, somebody on his fucking social media team who clearly do an awful job at fucking protecting his image, by the way. Just gonna point that out there. They must have clued this fucker in because, man, the way he gets out of this fight like a little bitch. Oh, man. After he fucking got away with his fucking stream, by the way, on Rumble, I think this is where this took place, by the way. He got away with that bullshit stream on Rumble, making fun of this dude, right? And then he goes and says this shit.
Needless to say, he would flatten Sneako in seconds, even with the size difference. Sneako definitely knew this, but he promised to take up Mikey's offer anyway, under one condition.
Mikey Musumeci, fine. I accept your offer. I will fight you in MMA. Under one condition, because you accused me of being a bully, I called you a Mark Zuckerberg lookalike, and I've never seen a world champion accuse somebody with no experience of being a bully.
Motherfucker, you are so deluded. He never said that was the reason. He never even specified the reason why he said you were a fucking bully. He said you were a bully because you fucking made fun of him for liking jiu-jitsu and for being a little socially awkward in public. Thus, he must have autism. That's why he called you a fucking bully. Get bent, dude.
But I accept. I understand why you're upset. One condition, because I don't need the money, I'm an active income. You need to tell your sparring partner and your lookalike, Mark Zuckerberg, to have a 1-hour conversation with me about who controls the world.
Let's just pretend to take him at his fucking word that he genuinely makes his own income and that he's making a good living. This motherfucker then contradicts himself by saying, hey, I want a fucking interview with Mark Zuckerberg on seeing who controls the real world and ask him the hard questions, quote unquote. Here's his conspiracy nut fucking job coming out of here, which is why I don't think he's all right in the head anyway, by the way. But now that's coming out of him. And he wants to have a conversation with Mark Zuckerberg about this shit. Motherfucker, if you really were making your own decent income, Why are you asking the guy that you tried to pick a fight with in MMA to set up a stream with you and Zuckerberg live? And by the way, granted, he was older, but I bet you to fucking believe right now that if fucking Zuckerberg is his sparring partner, Zuck would fuck you up too. Just gonna put that out there, dude, but okay.
And then I'll fight you, inshallah. I'll see you soon, Mikey. Look forward to it.
By the way, he fucking makes good Muslims. Actual good Muslims. This motherfucker gives them a bad name, by the way.
The way to back out of it without saying no. Don't decline, but say something they can't do or else you won't fight. This was one of the top comments on Sneako's post, and it's an interesting point. Sure, Mikey has a relationship with Zuckerberg and they spar together, but the chance of him convincing Zuck to sit down with Sneako was pretty much zero. So
yeah. There's a couple reasons why, by the way, because nobody would risk their fucking brand and reputation to do anything with fucking Sneako, unless it was to legitimately fight him. They were not going to be a civil fucking conversation. In fact, when fucking Moist Critical had a fucking conversation with him, his viewership actually dropped, and he did videos that obviously got them back. But they didn't want to fucking see this guy have a civil conversation. Because his fucking logic for his cuties debate was so fucking horrid that they just didn't want to listen to it anymore. Right? So why the fuck would... if fucking Moist Critical got affected by it, even if it was a small margin, why the fuck would guys like Mark Zuckerberg want anything to do with it? Mark Zuckerberg, by the way, politically, he's got his own goddamn problems. He doesn't need Sneako on top of it. Alright? He doesn't need Sneako to fucking drag him down any further than he already is on the totem pole. I mean, his app is dying. His main app. I'm not talking about Messenger. Messenger might as well be a fucking subsidiary of fucking Facebook at this point. Like, more people have Messenger than the fucking actual Facebook app. Number one, because it's a fucking resource hog. And number two, because there's fucking, all this fucking shit about it that, argues the legal practice of such a fucking app. So he's going through a lot already. Why the fuck does he need to deal with Sneako's bullshit? Not to mention, he isn't going to be civil with a fucking guy that is fucking disrespecting his friend. Like, he's just not going to do it. So, yeah. Like, no shit, dude.
So by agreeing to take the fight only under this condition, Sneako effectively said no while saving face. But going off other events we'll discuss in this video...
Yeah, saving face. That lasted very fucking shortly.
I actually think Sneako was serious, and that he was prepared to take the beating. Either way, Mikey was not happy with his response.
Alright, so obviously Sneako doesn't want to fight me. Adding in all these stupid stipulations he knows will never happen. Typical bully. They talk and they talk, beyond the safety of their screen, or even in the bathroom, recklessly, and they never face consequences. There's so many people out there like him. My goal here was to stand up to a bully. Kids, get yourself into Muay Thai or Jiu-Jitsu so you can learn self-defense and you don't have to deal with idiots like Sneako.
Yeah, amen. Now, granted, I will say, the whole idea of Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu, and I think he even says it in his bio on social media, this guy, it's a self-defense course, ultimately, at the end of the day, which is why, it's such a great tool for MMA, because it's a great counter tool for any fucking strike that is thrown their way. Like, it's just a great tool. If you're looking to be a complete, well-rounded MMA fighter like Sean O'Malley, you have to learn a little bit of Muay Thai, especially in the fucking landscape now in UFC. You have to learn a little bit of Muay Thai, a little bit of Jiu-Jitsu, because that is a great fucking defense when it comes to, going after a strike. And you incorporate a little bit of mat wrestling with that, fucking forget about it. Forget about it. You're fucked, So... yeah, man, like, this guy knows what he's talking about, and, like, if the fight were to actually happen between Sneako and this fucking kid, this kid would smoke him. Like, there's not a doubt in my fucking mind that this kid wouldn't fucking eat Sneako for lunch. And then take his lunch money, as he so eloquently said.
Sneako responded to this, but he didn't budge.
One condition. I'm not getting paid. You're a world champion, and this was my first time ever training. I want to speak to Mark Zuckerberg for an hour about him. Bring that part up. Don't say that's a bunch of stipulations.
I have no idea what that is because they censored it for obvious reasons, I'm sure, but yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg for an hour about him. Bring that part up. Don't say that's a bunch of stipulations. You spar with him. You speak to him regularly. Let me have a conversation with him. I'm going to live stream it. That's it. It's not all these stipulations. I'm not asking for like weight things. I'm not asking for any clauses. I'm just saying I want to speak to your sparring partner, Mark Zuckerberg, live on a stream, and then I'll do MMA with you. Don't try to lie.
Alright, as we already fucking stated, Mark Zuckerberg is not going to fucking damage his reputation for somebody else's fucking fight, number one. Number two, he never asked for the fucking fight. You picked the fight with him by fucking bullying him. So, let's cut the shit there, Sneako. There is plenty of other reasons why people don't associate with you, and we're going to get into that in a minute. But, like, fuck off, dude. Like, you're making excuses for not wanting to fight him. At the end of the day, if you want to fight him, fight him. The reason why you're not fighting him is because you're trying to stall to fight him to get more experience, or option B, you weren't really serious about the fucking fight and you just wanted a fucking excuse to drum up some fucking much needed controversy to get your fucking clout up. And congrats, I guess it kind of worked because we're talking about you here now, and this guy made a whole fucking documentary about you. But again, we're gonna go over the fucking not all publicity is good publicity in a minute. We're gonna get to that at the end of the podcast.
You're gonna call me a bully. This is fair.
Ultimately, Mikey wasn't willing or able to deliver on Sneako's demands, so the fight never went ahead, and the whole saga ended there. Sneako came away from it looking pretty bad, and was even called out on the Joe Rogan Experience for being a bully.
Here's how I made myself control my world using a
honestly, as he should have. Like, anybody with a fucking brain would fucking call this clown out for his absolutely shit-tastic fucking view of the world. Like, absolutely fucking call him out on his bullshit. He's a bully, that's all he is, and Joe Rogan, who is a fucking legitimate tough guy, by the way, like, he would fucking destroy Sneako, even at his fucking age, so yeah, I mean, this fucking guy, exactly what this fucking guy said. Joe Rogan was right on the head. If he's saying it, then it must be fucking true, right? If we're gonna go that fucking shallow route. But, like, anybody with a brain would have been able to tell you Sneako's just bullying this kid. And that's all he was doing. And this guy stood up for himself, challenged him to a fight, and the fucking bully backed down. And now he's getting royally fucked at every angle. Verbally, emotionally. We're about to see soon physically. And I can't fucking lie to you when I say, man, I was so happy when I saw this shit. Oh. Fucking
Started because Sneako said you'd high beefs and was even called out on the Joe Rogan Experience for being a bully. What's ironic about the whole thing is that this entire beef started because Sneako said jiu-jitsu is for autistic people. And now, not even 2 months after he said that, he's posting streams where he's in the gym practicing jiu-jitsu. It's impossible to take someone seriously when they flip-flop on the things they say like this, and Sneako does this all too often. From around the time his beef with Mikey started, Sneako started hitting the gym regularly. He's been training in mixed martial arts, and we've seen him sparring a fair amount. He's had numerous UFC fighters make appearances on his streams, and they've all spent time teaching him a thing or two. Most of these guys have been really friendly and helpful, but one of them not so much. Sean Strickland has a reputation for being your stereotypical tough guy. He's the type of person who will pick a fight with almost anyone, regardless of age, weight, or fight experience. And many people consider him to be a bully. He's known to go really hard in sparring, but it's unclear whether Sneako knew this before agreeing to get in a cage with him. Just before their spar, Jake Shields, another mixed martial artist, warned Sneako about Strickland.
Should I wear headgear or not?
Yeah.
Do you guys have headgear?
Yeah. Let's see if someone has one.
Okay. I'm gonna wrap up.
Can't believe that's part of Sean too. Oh my god. I don't think he realizes what he got himself into.
Should I do headgear or no headgear?
You should do headgear.
Definitely headgear.
Yeah, Strickland's not the nicest guy to spar, but whatever. It's too late now. You're already in it, so at this point, it'll be good for you to go out there and get fucking.
Let's train afterwards too, though. I mean, I'm just gonna
We'll do like some cardio after.
Even though it was starting to sound like a pretty bad idea.
By the way, spoiler alert, he didn't do cardio after. I think you'll see why in a minute here.
Sneako still decided to get in there with Strickland, and he did it without headgear. For the first few minutes of the spar, Shawn allowed Sneako to take shots at him while barely putting up any resistance. He kept talking to Sneako, taunting him as he ate his punches. Stood next to each other, and you can see just how much of a size difference there is between them. Sneako looked like a kid in there, and Strickland was just toying with him.
Let's just talk about this too. Sean Strickland isn't even at his physical peak right now. This dude's fucking taking his punches like it's not even lunch.
As the spar went on, Shawn began counting down to when he would let loose.
It's like a fucking appetizer to him.
As we get closer to the 3-minute mark, you're about to feel a significant more amount of pain. They should be setting it in right now that nothing you can do can hurt me. And this is a moment that as you're realizing, you're about to have a really bad fucking day in the next minute.
It honestly seemed like Strickland was taking some sort of sick pleasure in the whole thing, knowing full well what he was about to do.
Oh my god.
3 minutes into the spar, he completely switched up and started wailing on Sneako, throwing heavy shots that could have been seriously damaging.
Oh fuck god.
There was literally nothing Sneako could do besides try to protect himself. People kept throwing in towels, but Strickland completely ignored them, and the fight only stopped when someone jumped in to break it up.
Oh my
It was really surprising that Sneako didn't go down during that, because Strickland wasn't holding back. He came away with a bloody nose and some bruises, but it could have been worse. I mean, just look at his punch that landed flush on Sneako's face.
Dude.
Even though he took a beating, this is one of the only dramas Sneako's been involved in that he came away from looking good.
Let's just straight up say this. If all of your past dramas and all your past transgressions you have not learned from, got an ass kicking from somebody in that fucking cage, I don't give a fuck who it was. Did it really come out looking fucking good? I think y'all know the answer to that question. Let's continue.
People respected the fact that he stood his ground and didn't go down, even though he couldn't fight back. Strickland, on the other hand, got a lot of criticism, but unsurprisingly, he didn't care at all.
You know, the thing about like sparring, I am not a good man. I tell you guys all the time, I make mistakes. I do things I shouldn't do. I'm not a good man. I like to hurt people. We all know this. Like, I've never hid this fact. And when you spar like these guys that want to spar, there is no respect. You haven't earned it. You haven't proved yourself. You don't deserve not to get hurt. Yeah, no, if Forrest didn't jump in, I would have took your life if I could have.
Now, I will state right there, that is a fucking large leap to fucking cross. Like, and I don't even like Sneako at all. But I would not wish death upon this kid, and I wouldn't want him to die in the middle of that ring. That's way too far. And by the way, the reason why people criticized him obviously is because they fucking threw in the goddamn towel, right? But they should have known who he was getting in the fucking ring with. And again, you look at this fucking guy's past transgression and his track record. He got the beating that was coming to him. I don't feel bad for Sneako. I'm sorry. I'm not ever going to feel bad for Sneako. In fact, anybody that would have fucking given him the beating he absolutely was rightly owed fucking deserves a goddamn medal. Like, honestly, I don't like this kid. He has absolutely lost his fucking mind. And he has absolutely made the space of video creation look like such a shitty fucking thing because of people like him. Nobody likes this guy. Not even the most controversial fucking streamers like this guy. Because of he's forcing his agenda on people that don't want to fucking talk about the shit he wants to talk about. Like, it's just fucking gross. And then, this guy, probably knowing all of this, I don't give a fuck what the fucking reasons were for doing what he did personally. He probably knew all this, and it's like, I can't wait to fucking beat this kid's ass. Like, ultimately, people got to remember he got into this position because he picked on a fucking autistic kid who is a master and a collegiate jiu-jitsu artist. This motherfucker was not gonna fucking play games. Like, Sean Strickland, bro, he's fucking out of his mind. He's been out of his mind. This guy literally is one of the few people that got into this business to hurt people because he was hurt himself. But even he recognizes the greatness of other fighters. You know what I mean? So when this fucking guy targeted this kid, you don't think that didn't fucking resonate with fucking this guy? And we're about to fucking go into this in a second here, but I want you to pay attention to, like, the reason he even went overboard, and the reasons he's gone overboard in the past. Does that excuse wanting to kill him? No, but I want you to hear it and actually digest what he says here. Because, like, what we're about to see afterwards is gonna be fucking telling.
Thought that Strickland is like this because of his upbringing. He was brought up in an abusive household with an alcoholic dad who terrorized his mother, and the trauma he suffered in those early years is what made him turn to fighting.
I went through like pretty severe trauma as a kid, like pretty fucked up trauma.
Yeah.
Where like I could sit there and joke about it, but I would always miss school because my dad would get home drunk, start drinking at like 6. He would get home at like 7 and like just be up until like 3 a.m, just like tell my mom, tell my mom she's a whore, he's gonna kill her, like. And I'll never forget, like he would talk about like burning her face with acid. And mind you, I'm in elementary school. Right? So like,
so that's a lot of responsibility then you feel probably just to like take care of your mom.
Oh yeah. No, he'd always tell her that like if you cheat on me, and she probably was cheating on him. If you cheat on me, I'm gonna like cut you up and put you in a bottle of acid and bury you. I remember like laying in bed, like I remember I stopped believing in God, man. Like fucking, like I had fucking, yeah, it's crazy shit, dude. Crazy shit, man.
At this point in the conversation, it all got too overwhelming for Strickland, and he sat quietly, sobbing for a while. He then went on to share how he used to be so anxious because of everything going on that he would obsessively scratch his gums to the point that they would gush blood, and he still has a hole in them to this day. He wanted out of the life he was living so bad that he considered the unthinkable.
I mean, I remember like, you know, like you don't even know what it is when you're a kid. And you're really talking about suicide, like being a little kid, like laying in bed, like just, like, man, I'm done with this shit. Like, there can't be a God. When I talk about like, oh, I'd kill a man, it's like you don't understand, dude. Like, when you go through that level of trauma, like you just view the world differently. If it wasn't fighting, bro, I'd be in jail. Like, it's not like to have like, you don't understand. Like, I truly have a deep down urge to kill somebody. Like, I can't. It doesn't go away.
With this context, it's a lot easier to understand why Strickland is the way he is and why he beat up Sneako like that. Still, it doesn't excuse what he did, but Sneako seems to have taken it on the chin.
Yeah, because he had no fucking choice. We'll just get that out of the way now. Number one, I pray for Sean Strickland that he can get the help he needs, because that's a lot of baggage to hold on to. And I mean, that's a lot of fucking baggage to hold on to. I've known people personally that have gone through this type of abuse. You know, with their parents, and any type of fucking abuse can really fuck somebody up in their perception of life. Hence why I like... And as weird as this is to even go back to fucking Sneako in this is why I don't feel bad for Sneako at all. Because, like, what he probably saw was a fucking spitting image of his dad. Just in a more passive-aggressive fucking tone. He saw an opportunity probably in his fucking mind. Completely warped at that point in time, right? that it was like his dad. He was staring his father in the eye. So he was willing to fuck him up, and he was willing to kill him. And that's scary, by the way. Like, I'm not even excusing that from Shane, because, like, he needs to get help for that. Like, even though Sneako was a fucking asshole for the whole reason he even started this journey anyway with MMA was because he bullied a fucking kid for supposedly having autism, liking jiu-jitsu, right? Even if that was the case and he saw, like, his father being that kind of rude asshole, bro, you got to get control of shit like that, man. You have to. Like, I wouldn't feel safe around this guy. I'm shocked he's not in jail yet for attempted murder. I'm gonna be real with you. Because really, he probably should have spent a night in the fucking slammer for this incident, even though I don't like Sneako. And I don't feel sorry for him, because he absolutely had it coming. But, you know, is it worth going to fucking jail over this fucking clown? Like, when you really separate yourself from the situation and don't take it personally, is it really worth losing time of your life where you could be spent bettering yourself as a person? Like, it's never too late. That's kind of the point I wanted to just harp on when it came to Strickland. Strickland's a fucking legend just with what he's done in the cage. Like, nobody's ever going to take that away from him, but he really needs to get help for that, because that's not healthy at all. That's not a healthy way of dealing with shit. Especially when you're fucking dealing with a fucking knobhead like Sneako. Like, you know, like, if just a little thing like him fucking getting... Like, at the end of the day, the beef was done with the kid. Like, Sneako got called out by the kid after he fucking said some ridiculous demands. You know, did he need the beating? No. Did you need to feel the urge to kill him? No. Do we appreciate that he got his ass kicked? Oh, fuck yeah. But realistically, it ain't worth it, man. You know, I pray for Strickland, man. I'm definitely gonna keep him in my thoughts and prayers tonight, because that's a lot to fucking go through.
I kind of feel bad for him, like, because I can tell that he's very few fighters are fighting because they enjoy hurting people. But there's a phrase, like, hurt people. The guy clearly has a troubled past. And he's doing it because he genuinely, like, he wants to draw blood on people. Like, he wants to get revenge for stuff that's happened. And I kind of feel bad for that, because I know most fighters, they do it for the respect. Like, guys like Habib, for example, or Islam, the Muslim fighter.
Or the kid that you fucking, you know, gave shit to. I mean, just a fucking thought. Just a fucking thought.
As they do it for, like, the honor, for the respect, and, like, to fulfill their father's prophecies in order to show how great Dagestani and Islamic culture is. They do it for the honor of it. This dude is just, like, comes from a troubled past and just wants to hurt people. And so there's, like, different justifications for why.
Opera GX.
Can we talk about that too, by the way? You could have your thought process of shit like that. Like, if you have your different reasons for fighting, that's fine, right?
Hey.
Like, but to me, you know, feeling forced to fight has always been weird. That's why I always had, like, as much as a legend that Khabib Nurmagomedov is, I always found it strange that he fought for not only his religion, but his father, and how a lot of people don't realize that if he lost a fight, his father would have disowned him. Like, dude. I don't know about that, man. I really don't understand what the hell's going on there, but I always was a bit uncomfortable with shit like that as well, because that's not a great way to parent, even if they're a fucking adult.
Even though the spar between Sneako and Strickland got a lot more coverage, he actually came away worse off when he had a spar with Bradley Martin a few months earlier. Unlike Strickland, Bradley has little to no fight experience, but he is 260 pounds, which makes him a giant compared to Sneako.
I'm just going to skip this part, because this is a part we don't need to really cover. Alright. he got his shit. He got beat up again, I guess, but it wasn't nearly as much, and it wasn't like the guy had any animosity towards him. So, you know, ultimately the bully got bullied by a bully. You know what I mean? With Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland even said, "I'm not a good person," and he has a lot of fucking demons, right? So he just channeled that on Sneako's ass. This guy didn't really do that, so I'm just kind of going to skip over it, even though it's probably significant to this documentary. If you want to find out the story, go to the fucking documentary. Seek it out for yourself. This is the fucking part that I really want to get into, because the fucking delusion of this goddamn goober is absurd to me. Like, holy shit.
Him to Strickland beating him up. 2024 hasn't gotten off to a good start for Sneako, but it gets worse. Everyone knows that Sneako is a controversial character. He's permanently banned from YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok because of the many things he said online. And now he's...
Alright, so he's not banned on X, he's not banned on Rumble, he's not banned on Instagram. Maybe Kick? I have no idea. Is he banned on Kick? Probably not, but... Okay, so he's not banned on... He's banned on these platforms, which, you know, still 3 of the biggest platforms in the fucking world that get the most views and hits. So, yay. Good job there, buddy.
Exclusively posts his content to Rumble. It's been over a year since he joined Rumble, and ever since, he's been extremely active on the platform. On February 9th, he attended a Power Slap event they were hosting, along with many other big streamers and influencers. He streamed the whole...
Anybody remember how fucking bad Power Slap flopped? Jesus Christ.
Thing, and some parts were pretty hard to watch. While he was in the lobby before he entered the event, IShowSpeed and Kai Cenat showed up. Sneako noticed them, and it looked like he was waiting to greet them, but they ended up walking straight past and didn't acknowledge him at all. It even seemed like Speed was mocking him when he turned around looking left to right. From the look on his face, you could tell this got to Sneako, but he didn't mention it and just went into the event. He was in the VIP section.
By the way, I'm not the biggest fan of Speed. I like Kai Cenat more than I like Speed, because I just think Speed is obnoxious just for the sake of being obnoxious. Really, that doesn't mean I don't like Speed as a normal person, by the way. Outside of the YouTube persona he perceives, holy shit. Like, he's pretty cool, right? Kai Cenat is just a lot more enjoyable to me. But either way, boys, good call.
And there were many other big names around. So after spending a bit of time watching the contest, he began networking. At one point, he stopped to watch a guy perform a magic trick, and it was then, less than 40 minutes after he got in there, that security asked him to leave. He was escorted out of the VIP section, while all the other influencers, most of which don't even stream on Rumble, were allowed to stay. It's unclear why he got the boot, but throughout the rest of the stream, he was either complaining about that, or asking people why Kai, Speed, and others were ignoring him.
This fucking goober. Just in case you didn't understand this, right? This fucking guy harassed the entirety of the crowd there at the event. Let me just reiterate this and go on full screen. The entirety of the crowd at the event. Why people like Kai Cenat and Speed would not fucking talk to him. No wonder he got fucking booted from here. Jesus Christ, this is the most fucking coverage Power Slap's ever gotten in the history of its fucking career.
Can I ask you a question, Mike? Yes, sir. Why do you think there's this overall vibe and a lot of like industry people, they don't f with me? What is that? And you must know.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not really sure, bro. I think everybody probably has a different reason for it. I'm not quite sure. You know, I think you take shots at me.
Mike, bro, listen, this ain't Logan Paul. You don't have to defend everything this fucking guy does, okay? You can absolutely be as fucking brutal as you want to be with this guy. Like, I don't know why he's even trying to play the soft papa to this fucking clown. Like, why do you think, dickhead? Why do you think? You defended a movie that fucking had sexual exploitations of children. Fuck you. You fucking cunt.
Everybody probably has a different reason for it. I'm not quite sure. You know, I think you take shots at people, and when you take shots at people, obviously they're gonna mark that in their mental.
A lot of people that I don't take shots at.
I don't know. But also, yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people too that just don't want to be with somebody who's having conversations about the shit you're having conversations about.
It's true.
You should have just been straight up brutal with this fucking guy. I hate to tell you, Mike, I don't know why you went even anywhere soft as you did with him. He should have gotten a fucking rude awakening just by you. Honest to God. Because you gave a rude awakening to fucking Jake, I remember. Because, like, you're the reason why you pulled him out of that fucking slump. There's no way that you're going to do that for Logan, and how are you not doing this for this kid? Right? Like, he deserves to get called out on his bullshit straight up without fucking cushioning the blow. He doesn't deserve a cushion of the blow. He defended a movie with sexually exploiting minors, full-on minors, not even teens, minors, like actual children, right? Then he went and fucking bullied an autistic kid, and then tried to get into MMA as a result of bullying the autistic kid. Then he got his ass handed to him by a fucking dude who's nuts, way more nuts than all of us combined. Right? Then he goes to this event after he has his fucking feud with people like Moist Critical, Sean Strickland, the fucking dude who he called autistic, all these different people. And you wonder why nobody wants to associate with you. You fucking threatened gun violence on a YouTuber from Florida because you didn't like the fact that he wouldn't accept your take on a movie that was actively, even if it was unintentionally, promoting pedophilia. And then he fucking calls you out on your horrible grammar in real life. You got so upset that you felt the need to have a conversation with him, which made you look even dumber than before, right? And you have all these fucking nonsensical opinion pieces. Nonsensical bullshit opinion pieces. And you wonder why people like Tyson and Speed don't want to associate with you. Newsflash. We'll get to the end of this in a minute. It ain't a popularity contest when you weren't popular to begin with. That's on you, Sneako. That's not on anybody else. Stop fucking making excuses for your dog shit behavior.
True Sneako doesn't do himself any favors by always criticizing people and getting into beef. And the fact he's always bringing up hot button topics like the ongoing wars really puts people off. Most influencers don't want to be questioned about things like that or have debates on it. And who can blame them? At the end of
Dude. I never thought I'd ever sympathize with Aiden fucking Ross of all people, because he has some questionable shit he's done too. Look at this fucking guy. Seriously. Look at this fucking guy. This guy looks like he wants to be anywhere but where he is in right now. He does not want to be involved in this. Like, holy shit.
Influencers don't want to be questioned about things like that or have debates on it. And who can blame them? At the end of the day, they're entertainers, not political commentators. But Sneako can't seem to decide.
And I just want to point out, the fact that Speed and Kai Cenat would be willing to hang out with Aiden Ross over this other guy, that tells me a lot. And, dude, like, Aiden Ross has done some questionable shit sometimes. Most times. But, like, you're not going to hear him try to have some political commentary. You know what I mean? He's not going to have some political commentary. You know, that's just the bottom line. That's the be-all, end-all of that.
Which he is.
You know the dumbest shit, I gotta be honest with you, is the fact that genocide is controversial. Like, being against genocide is controversial. Saying free Palestine, saying that what's happening right now, people getting bombed during the Super Bowl, while Taylor Swift is chugging a beer on live TV for your entertainment, they're moving people out of the Gaza Strip into another village just to bomb them even more. And saying that's wrong, saying children dying, saying genocide is wrong, is controversial. That's the fucked up part about this industry, that all these people need to be like, I don't know, buy Prime. Insanity.
These are important things to bring attention to, but if people choose not to talk about it, you can't crucify them for it.
Thank you. What's this guy's name? I don't want to fuck it up again. Hold on. What's this guy's name? Tell us more. Thank you, Tell Us More. You really did tell us more. You told us exactly what we needed to hear. Yes, don't crucify people that don't want to actually talk about this dumb shit. Right? It's that fucking simple. Now, look. If you get passionate about topics, that's fine. You need to learn how to dial it back. And I know that's rich coming from me with the last few podcasts I've done. But I think, like, I don't cover politics, by the way. I don't cover world politics. I don't cover the U.S. politics. I don't cover any fucking politics. Because I think all politics are a fucking sham. Right? I think genocide in general, on either side of that fucking fence, is wrong. Period, end of story. I do think it's just fucked up. And I think taking religion that fucking seriously, so much so that you are willing to bomb people and fucking kill innocent civilians, I think is wrong. Do you see me saying that every day? Like this fucking jack-off is doing? Bringing it up to any fucking influencer who will entertain his company. Do you see me doing that shit? No! Why would I? There's no point in that. Like, time and place, fucker. You don't need to fucking spew your thoughts out all the goddamn time to anybody. You are not a political fucking YouTuber. You're not even a political Rumble person. Okay? Like, shut the fuck up. People aren't even going onto your streams to even hear shit like that, dude. Like, half the fucking audience that you have is probably fucking children because you're a fucking cancer. Right? And most parents are awful in parenting their kids. So, obviously, that's probably the biggest audience you have. If you have adults, good for you. They're probably just as degenerate as you are if they're fucking supporting you in any goddamn regard. And the other half of the fucking adults in the room that are in your chats are probably just trolling you. Time and place, dickhead. You don't have the time, you're definitely not in the place, and you wonder why people fucking avoid you like the fucking plague. Bro, never in my life did I ever think there would be a timeline where I would rather hang out with Logan Paul than I would with this fucking guy. I never thought I'd hate anybody over fucking the Pauls, but I do in this case. I think this guy's actually worse than Jake Paul. I really do. And Jake Paul's done a lot of fucked up shit, but this guy is the fucking king of fucked up shit. So...
Sneako comes across like he thinks he's better than guys like Kai and Speed because he talks about this stuff.
They try to lump me in with these other influencers. I want to reiterate right now, I am not like these other niggas, man. I am not like one of these other influencers. I'm not them.
You know what? Let's just look up something real quick. Is Sneako black? Well, at least he's black. We'll give him that. He at least got the M-word pass.
You know, like, hey, here's the influencers. They put me on the other side. And I'm the one streaming on Rumble every day.
By the way, for a fucking dude who acts black, man, you act like a fucking white woman. Holy shit. Bro, and I don't mean that, like, I guess I mean it somewhat derogatory, but what I mean by that is, like, a Karen, right? You sure as hell act like a fucking Karen, bro. Like, god damn. Like, you are the whitest black... You're the whitest girl who has the black guy complexion I've ever seen in my life. You complain about everything. You wonder why people avoid you like the plague. You fucking constantly shit on people just for the sake of shitting on people. And then you wonder, why did I get my ass kicked? Why the fuck do you think? You are the textbook definition of a fucking Karen, bro. Like, dead serious. Dead ass. That's really what you are. You are a Karen in this
stuff.
They try to lump me in with these other influencers. I want to reiterate right now, I am not like these other niggas, man. I am not like one of these other influencers. I'm not them. You know, hey, here's the influencers. They put me on the other side. And I'm the one streaming on Rumble every day. Every day. But they put these guys, Kai and Speed, they walk out the red carpet for them. I get it. I get it. They're not a brand risk. They're, you know, they're jumping around, they're dancing. They're not going to speak about anything that is going to cause a problem.
Even though he tries to hammer home.
Sounds to me like somebody's jealous of their success and their ability to get along with others and not bring up shit that don't need to be brought up. Sounds like someone's living with a lot of regret and doesn't want to look at themselves in the fucking mirror. Could that be what it is? I think that's what it is.
The point that he's not like these other influencers, it's undermined by the fact that he clearly seeks validation from them.
Kai, when you got accused of when last year, New Year's Eve, when they tried to accuse you of grape, who was there on stream defending you while everybody else was silent? Well, everybody else was like, what? I immediately defended you because I know that they try to do that to successful men. As soon as you get to the next path in life, they try to bring up some false allegations, and I defended you, Kai. And then you walk right in front of me. Aiden, same thing. When you got canceled, these people were not your friends. They only when it's profitable for them. This whole influencer shit is like high school times 10. It's all the giant popularity contest. There's no loyalty whatsoever. They smile and do a little dance and bark, but none of them actually even like each other.
You don't even have a fucking clue about who these people are in real life because you're the one that's acting exactly what you're accusing them of. Seriously, dude. Like, you could be real about situations and do it in a setting that makes sense. You could do that in a healthy fucking way. You're not doing it in a healthy way. You fucking gnome. That's why you're banned on 3 platforms. You're a fucking jackass. And nobody wants to deal with a jackass in their life. Especially, and yes, this part is a little bit of a flex on them, when they have bigger clout than you do. You're on a burgeoning fucking site in Rumble. Aiden Ross is streaming on Kick, which is getting arguably way more views than fucking Rumble is. Kai Cenat is streaming on both Twitch and YouTube, from what I understand, and getting a fucking shit ton of views. And Speed is above all of them. But Speed also doesn't look at anybody lesser than. This motherfucker did streams with the Sidemen, KSI, fucking, I think at one point he did a stream with like a musician at one point. This guy's fucking killing it. So is Kai Cenat, by the way. Okay? Just because you defend them, that's great. Oh, you defended them online. So that gives you a free pass to just be an annoyance? I could defend them too. They don't know me from a fucking hole in the wall. They don't care. Why would they care? They don't give a shit about my opinion, whether it's good or bad. You probably don't give a shit about my opinion when it's good or bad. Right? You don't know me. I don't know you, IRL, outside of the fucking nonsense you put online. Which is all I got to really go off of. So, like, what the fuck are we talking about here, dude? All you do is talk. All you do is yap about the stupidest shit. All you do is feel the fucking urge to just ruin people's day. And that's how people perceive it as. Fucking Hall of Famer, WWE legend, Undertaker said it best. Perception is reality. Reality is you're an asshole. Now, when it came to fucking Vince McMahon, he probably should have, said that to him, and he probably should have taken his own advice with wrestlers' court in some cases, but it's neither here nor there. Point being is, holy shit, is that statement ever true? Because you just look like an asshole. Some people are going to treat you like a fucking asshole. It's pretty fucking simple, kids. Mind your fucking manners. Be respectful. And if you aren't, stop it. Get some help.
What I find funny about Sneako is that when he's out in public at these events, he comes across as mild-mannered and approachable. But when he's in the comfort of his own home behind his screen, he becomes a totally different person, shouting down the microphone and pointing the finger at people. Given he always does this, he can't be surprised when people stop wanting to be around him.
Do you Sneako? No. Truth. Elaborate or no? There's no reason to. Okay.
That can't be very nice to hear.
Bro. Fucking stone cold, passed a lie detector test, said don't fuck with him. Good for him. Aiden Ross actually earned a little bit of my respect back. Shit. He's done some fucking questionable shit.
Even though Sneako's stacking L's at the moment, it's not all doom and gloom. Despite being banned from most major streaming platforms, he's still being talked about all the time. So ultimately, he's succeeding at the one thing that's most important in the social media game, staying relevant.
Alright, so this is the fucking part that I'm going to disagree on. All publicity is not good publicity. I think we have established that. His publicity and his idea of publicity is just garbage. Like, it really is. Like, it's a garbage excuse to fucking act like an asshole. Seriously. Give me 1 second here. Like, I don't understand the idea that, oh yeah, well, he's relevant because people keep talking about him. Here's the problem. This is the first video I've seen about fucking Sneako since he got destroyed by Charlie. These aren't clips, these are mags, right? I think there was an open mic night topic where we were covering a Sniper Wolf drama with Jack's Films, and we even Walter and I talked about that fucking nonsense with fucking Charlie, just talking about that, right? So ever since he got on after that point, I have not really kept up with this fucking guy. I don't think most people gave a shit about what this guy is. And by the way, just to clarify, this guy did a hell of a job. Like this video did very, very fucking well, right? Like this video, from my understanding of it, it's got 437,000 views, right? When Charlie did his video, I think in the first, they were viewing that video because of Charlie, but that's the last time he's really been relevant. Like, that's it. And now he's gotten banned off of the biggest streaming platforms on the platform right now. He can't do TikTok, he can't do Twitch, he can't do YouTube. Period. And nor should he. You want to talk about fucking shock jocks. This guy's fucking shock jock. He even says it in this fucking clip. He's being a shock jock just for the sake of being a shock jock. He doesn't really give a shit. Like, you want to talk about people being fake, brother. You're the fakest of them all. You don't give a shit about what the hell's going on in Gaza right now. You really don't. Nobody buys that for a second. Anybody with a fucking brain, by the way, is going to say that shit's wrong either way you look at it. Like, there shouldn't be genocide, period. That doesn't mean it needs to be uttered all the time, because nobody wants to talk politics in this space. Especially if you're an entertainer YouTuber. And you were bugging Aiden Ross, you were bugging all these other fucking influencers that were at the Power Slap event, to the point where Dana White had to fucking get his security to escort you from that venue. Get the fucking hint. You're off of 3 platforms for a reason. That's not by accident. Yeah, do you have freedom of speech to fucking act however you want to act? Sure, more power to you. Guess what? Just like you have that freedom of speech, the fucking companies have the freedom of speech to act how they want to act. Streamers, same fucking thing. They don't want to associate with your ass? Sometimes, maybe it's you. Sometimes, maybe it's you, fucker. So, fuck this guy. Quite honestly, fuck this guy. It's not fucking okay. It's not a fucking point. There's really nothing else that I could fucking add to this. Moral of the story, don't act like a tough guy unless you're actually willing to back it up. It's really that simple. So, that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Luckily, the next podcast is finally going to be something positive all around. And it's going to start kind of negative, but it's going to shift positive really quick. Because we are going to be talking about musicians that they should hire for the WWE. So that's going to be the next topic for the podcast. So be on the lookout for that. That's going to be a fun one. If you have not already, I want you guys to check out the last 2 podcasts that dropped right down at the end screen here. So I want you at the end screen coming up, all right, check out the last JHebert Side of Things, where we absolutely give praise to one of the greatest of anime history, one of the greatest artists of our time as far as animation goes, Akira Toriyama. Rest in peace to my boy. I'm so upset that he even died, man. He was a childhood icon of mine, and without him, I wouldn't have the anime childhood that I had, so that would be the last one. And check out my uncle's documentary. It is out by the time you guys see this. Go check that out right now as we speak, right at this part of the podcast, right at this part of the end screen. Go check that out as well. And until next time, we will see you on the JHebert Side.